This person says, how did you quit? He's asking how we quit smoke. My wife and I quit smoking cigarettes after decades of smoking. Cold turkey. I was going to say we didn't have a choice. We had a choice, but we didn't have a choice. So, Memorial Day weekend 2020, my wife Renee had a heart attack. She came home Friday after work, heading into the Memorial Day weekend, and she was complaining of heartburn and a pinched nerve. We're not doctors, we're not nurses, we're not CNAs, we don't have any medical training whatsoever, so we didn't know that that's how women presented for a heart attack. The men, it's, numb arm, pain in the chest. Women, it's typically, we know now, heartburn and a pinched nerve. But when she came home with heartburn and a pinched nerve, she was like, I must have sat weird and ate something that disagreed with me, and, sleep it off, we'll see how you're feeling tomorrow. She was feeling slightly better Saturday, but it got worse as the day went on. And she was just like, it's uncomfortable. You really must have ate something and pinched my nerve. Sunday, when she woke up and she wouldn't have a cigarette, which was so unusual for her, I was like, and she goes, I think you need to take me to the hospital. And I called a friend of mine who's a registered nurse. And I said, this is what's happening. This is how long it's been happening. She said, get her to the ER immediately. That's a heart attack. That's how women present for a heart attack. So I took her to the ER, or took her to the emergency room, the hospital. They wouldn't let me go into the ER. It was Memorial Day weekend of 2020, so it was the height of the COVID shit. I pulled up to the front door of the emergency room. She got out, went in. I went and parked. And I got a call a couple of minutes later. Like, they took her like that. I got a call a couple of minutes later from a doctor saying, yeah, your wife's having a heart attack. Has or is having a heart attack. We're taking her upstairs right now. I walked around that whole fucking hospital trying to get into every goddamn door I could, but because it was the height of the COVID, I couldn't get in. So I went back and sat in my car and just waited. And then a few minutes later, I got a phone call from a doctor saying, all right, we've got her up here. We've got her stabilized. She was 100% blocked in one. She was 47% blocked in another. We cleared out the 100% blockage and put a stent in. We're going to treat the other one with medication. She can't move for X number of hours, blah, blah, blah. What? Are you serious? And the doc told her, said, it's a probably a combination of things, but smoking. And the big thing was that she was a heavy smoker. So I was just under a pack a day. I had been smoking since I was 13 years old, cigarettes and weed, since I was 13 years old. And she had started smoking when she was, I think, 19. And she was almost a 2-pack a day smoker. Like, anytime she got in the car to go anywhere, it was a cigarette. At least one, if not two, before we got there. She was a heavy smoker, way more than me. And the doc told her, you got to stop smoking. And so she heard that and went, all right, that's it. We're done smoking. Or I'm done smoking cigarettes. And I went, well, then we're done smoking cigarettes. She goes, well, you don't need to quit. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit around the house and smoke cigarettes while you can't have fucking cigarettes. That's not going to happen. Now, it has been much harder for her to quit. Even all these years later, she still craves a cigarette way more than I do. But in my defense, to explain it sort of, I continue to smoke marijuana. So I never stopped that. So I still have the sensation of smoking. And there are times where, like, I'll get done eating a meal and I'll light up a joint and like sit there with like a cigarette. Be like, scrolling through my phone. She had to go cold turkey with all of the habits and the movements and all of that stuff that go along with smoking. I had to go cold turkey, but I had weed to sort of help me out. So it was a much easier transition for me, much harder for her. She still has the cravings. I don't. If the doctor told her she had some kind of terminal illness, she would go buy a pack of cigarettes tomorrow. I think. I don't know. It's 5-6 years later, it might be out of her system. She might not want one, but there have been a lot of moments in her life, especially here recently, when she lost an aunt on her mom's side and an uncle on her father's side, both of which meant a great deal to her in a matter of 4 days. Or a few years ago when she lost her sister unexpectedly at 44, or when the company she was working for collapsed, and after over 20 years of being in the workforce, found herself out of a job. All of these have caused her to want a cigarette badly. She has not gone back to it, and I don't think she's going to unless something major happens. But that's how we quit. Was cold turkey. It was just overnight. It was just, all right, we can't smoke anymore. So we were done smoking. That weekend, Memorial Day. So she was in the Sunday before Memorial Day. The next day was Memorial Day. That Memorial Day, I threw away all the cigarettes that we had. We were rolling our own. We had bags of tobacco and empty tubes, and we were rolling our own at that point in time because it was much cheaper. And I literally just grabbed everything that we had, threw it all away, gave the rolling machine to somebody else, and was fucking done with it. I haven't had a cigarette since.